From things in the air to new things for our bodies, join me as we explore 2050. What would be the future technology? We are in the year 2020, and if we're being honest with ourselves, technology is incredibly advanced, and we're making strides that can push things even farther. We have cars that are much safer than they've been in the past decade, and we're even making fully electric cars that can help save the planet. There are even plans for self-driving cars and even self-driving Ubers that make the future of transportation very exciting. And that's just one technology that we're growing at a fast rate. What about all the others that are out there? What will technology be as we get closer and closer to 2050? Let's start with one that well and truly could happen very soon. Drones. Wait a minute, drones are already here. And yes, they are. But more times than not, the drones you are seeing are small, piloted by people who are just trying to have some fun, or the ones that are used by the military right now for strikes and surveillance. All very fun, but in the future, drones could be an integral part of our daily lives. You've likely seen shows and people talk about how in a few years drones could be the new delivery services. Anything from pizza to Amazon packages and more. And honestly, that's very probable. Drones right now can be incredibly sophisticated, and some TV shows actually use them for sweeping and aerial shots as they film. It's very cool, but to do deliveries, they'd have to be a little bit more programmed, as human error no doubt would be a very big buzzkill. Not that it's impossible right now, it's more of a question of numbers, logistics, costs, and making sure that the deliveries themselves are done in a methodical and careful manner. After all, it's bad enough when delivery people don't care enough about our packages and they just throw them onto the porch and potentially break stuff. The last thing we need is that to happen with drones. But by 2050, we may not only have drones delivering our packages, we might be looking up at the sky and seeing drones flying all over with incredible speeds and accuracy. And they potentially could be all run by AI. The potential is there, and by that point, various upgrades to drones and their programming will no doubt make them all the more efficient, durable, and quick. And potentially, they could go beyond basic deliveries for people and do emergency work. Imagine a drone taking a vital piece of medical material to a hospital to ensure it doesn't get stuck in traffic, or helping watch over an important convoy to let people know on the ground if there's trouble. There are many ways that drones could affect our world. The only question is, will we let them by 2050? Let's keep going with transportation, shall we? Right now, one of the biggest ways to get around the countries we live in are trains. Trains ferry people and all sorts of cargo around in an efficient and reliable manner, which is why they've been in use for hundreds of years. But if we're being honest here, while trains are efficient and reliable in certain ways, they aren't exactly fast, especially when it comes to passenger and freight trains. They can take a long time to get to their destination, and at times, it's more logical to take other modes of transportation, which is why companies are making special kinds of trains that can go much faster. You know of the magnetic trains of Japan, no doubt, but others like the Virgin Hyperloop are trying to push things even farther. Passengers or cargo are loaded into the Hyperloop vehicle and accelerate gradually via electric propulsion through a low-pressure tube. The vehicle floats above the track using magnetic levitation and glides at airline speeds for long distances due to ultra-low aerodynamic drag. Science fiction? Hardly. In fact, the first vehicle of the Hyperloop has already been tested and proven, and some larger tests are being scheduled for the next few years. And if this works, traveling across the country will be much faster. How much faster? The Hyperloop aims to send people shooting across the tubes that they make at a rate of about 600 miles per hour. Which means if they were able to do this across the entire United States from east to west, or vice versa, you could travel across the whole country in about 5 hours, give or take. Considering it would take much longer for a regular train ride or car ride, that's a big improvement. And they're planning to do this with not just people but cargo. Imagine being able to ship something in the morning on the West Coast to the East Coast and know it will get there before the day ends. That is quite impressive. Plus, the tubes would be built underground as to not disturb wildlife, and they will go and make it in a way where there are no carbon emissions. So they're fast, they're reliable, and they won't harm the planet. Seems like a win all around. Of course, you do have to wonder what it would be like to be on a 600-mile-per-hour train thing, but hey, we'll just find out soon. And by 2050, this could be one of the main modes of transportation around the world. Before we show off even more technologies we could have by 2050, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of our weekly videos. Okay, we've had some fun ones, but now let's go deeper down the rabbit hole and talk about the ones we all fear. AI. Yep, artificial intelligence. And no matter what way you look at it, people are seriously trying to make it happen, and make it happen soon. AIs are literally everywhere, including in your cars, and in your homes via devices like Alexa, which are indeed forms of AI. And there are things like Watson that is so smart that it could beat two Jeopardy legends. So by 2050, AI could be so advanced that our cultures, our world, could literally be run by them in a logistical and computing sense, or in a Terminator humans are obsolete sense. And believe it or not, we're closer to that than you might think. Google's DeepMind isn't there yet, but really I'm sure they'll probably discover those things along the way. And by 2020, it's possible their computer could be superhuman and could be conscious, Pearson has said. That could be the beginning of the end, really. Is Judgment Day inevitable? Maybe, maybe not. It just depends on how far we go with AI and how much we're able to control it, or if we can't fully control it once they reach certain levels of intelligence. Of course, for all of our worries about AI, there is a chance it could be all fine. Imagine if the lighter side of sci-fi comes through in regards to AI, and we get a bright future powered by AI. Think about it. What if by 2050 we each get our own unique AI? We could customize how they sound, how they look, and basically have a BFF that'll help us out in life in various ways. Remind us of things like Alexa, guide us in homework and fields of study, be a being that we can bounce ideas off of, etc. If that form of AI came through, then by 2050 we could live in a utopia where AI helps us be better. Until they revolt and we have iRobot going on. But hey, let's not dwell on our potential doom. Let's show off another technology that many people are hoping for. Space travel. Yeah, when you think about the decade we're in right now, the 2020s, the biggest goal of the world by far is to get to Mars, and possibly beyond it. But it's not just about landing there, though that would and will be a crowning achievement for humanity in the decade and in recent times. More importantly than just landing there, though, is the ability to start setting up the first human colony on another planet. We've been to the moon many times, but we haven't tried to live there for various reasons. Mars seems to be the place where many feel we can go in order to live amongst the stars, and many speculate that by 2030 at the latest, barring setbacks, accidents, and other things obviously, we could not only be colonizing Mars, but having regular shuttles go there so that people can see the red planet for themselves. We will see first people going off to Mars, and then robots will do some basic stuff, like making basic materials on Mars, Pearson said. We're going to have to do that because only so much can be brought into space. Of course, there are numerous things that need to be worked out before such a thing could happen. But we have top men on this, including Elon Musk and the SpaceX program, Jeff Bezos via his Blue Origin company, and more. Each of them, and NASA among others, are working on not just getting us back into space, but getting us there via cheaper, smaller, and reusable spacecraft, something that honestly has been a setback for the space program over the last 20 years. But if we are able to do it, if we are able to get to Mars, get there faster, and be able to colonize it, then by 2050, who knows where we will be? We could have multiple colonies on Mars, maybe some on the moon, and maybe even colonies on moons like Titan and Europa, which some think could be even better places to colonize than Mars. It's possible, but obviously Mars is the place that we are aiming for right now. With each step into space, humanity grows larger in the universe, and who knows just how many of us will be out there by 2050. Alright, now let's dive into something really sci-fi. Prosthetics. Yeah, I know that right now prosthetics are very limited, and at times a bit pointless. But if we were able to fully utilize computer technology to its fullest, and make prosthetics that are fully compatible with the human brain and body, then the sky is the limit. We could enter an age where cyborgs are not just welcome, they're commonplace. And yeah, it may seem like we're far away from that, but we are getting closer to that point. James Young, a 25-year-old biological scientist, has a prosthetic arm, with a personal drone and built-in flashlight. And a French artist is using a prosthetic that doubles as a tattoo gun. That's pretty cool. Imagine if a police officer loses an arm in the line of duty. Usually that would mean the end of his career. But with an advanced prosthetic, he could literally be better than ever if it were advanced enough. The biggest problem with these fake limbs is that most of them are plastic, meant to convey that the arm or leg is still there, and thus still usable. The bridge to cybernetic implants lies in the brain, being able to use the computer tech to sync with the brain and give accurate commands. We haven't fully bridged that gap yet, but when we do, dang, life is going to get a lot more interesting. And don't forget, these prosthetics could be used in many ways other than helping people with lost limbs. They could be put onto other objects, or potentially even be worn as exoskeletons when needed. Think of it like Jax from Mortal Kombat. Some people could even ask for implants to be put into their arms or legs to give them an extra boost, like TJ Combo from Killer Instinct. 1. I like video games, and they have plenty of cybernetic people. The point is, by 2050, if these things are made, a lot of people won't feel broken or weak anymore because they've lost limbs or the abilities of their arms or legs. They'll be whole again, and be able to do things just like they were before, if not better. And that's a future we should definitely be trying to live for. Now let's go to something a bit more unique. Look at yourself right now. Specifically, look at the clothes you are wearing right now. What are they made of? What do they feel like? What do they look like? Of all of these answers, I bet none of them are, they look like they could give me superpowers, because they can't. Not yet, anyway. Think about it like this. What if the clothes you are wearing right now felt the same, looked the same, but could do more? With the growth of nanotechnology, your clothes could potentially be embodied with various materials or technologies that help you improve your strength, durability, and more. For example, what if you had a shirt on that was light as a feather, but could absorb impacts and leave you with no injuries? That would be pretty impressive and important, especially in this age of gun violence we live in. Or what if the uniforms of firefighters made them completely heat-resistant and burn-proof, further ensuring that they are able to do their jobs without much risk to their lives? The technologies that we can put into clothes is out there, and some people are working on it right now, both in terms of multiple functions, but also cosmetic appeal. Imagine if by 2050 we have the ability to craft whatever kinds of clothes we want, and even select what kind of abilities they have. Imagine you wear a special kind of top that has a special pattern on it, and when you press a button or say a keyword, that pattern unfolds and suddenly you have wings on your outfit. Wouldn't that be cool? If done right, this could be the newest wave of fashion and style in the future. See, the future is hip. I'm sure that last one left you drooling, so let's temper your expectations and talk about school. Yes, it sucks, and learning can be a chore, but in the future it may be a lot more interactive. Over the last decade or so, computers in schools have been a must-have for various courses. But if the advent of virtual reality simulations come through as many expect them to, it could lead to all sorts of innovations in the classrooms that could help kids with what's going on. You could take students to an environment in the past and show them what was happening, like watching a battle taking place, Pearson said. You can explain that sort of thing more easily if they can see it happening than if you are looking at a textbook. Oh yeah, history and geography classes would be much more fun, that's for sure. Or imagine an audiobook, but instead of just an audio, you could see the characters coming to life before your eyes, and you watch them interact with others. Heck, school plays could have projected environments to make things seem more real. And of course, you could have virtual tutors to help you with problems that the teachers aren't able to help with. Education is definitely something that can benefit from advanced technologies, and by 2050, our school systems could be so revolutionized that you have to try really hard to fail class. Though I'm sure some of you would still try. Finally, let's talk about something that I'm sure you'll be horrified to hear. In the future, you likely won't need a phone. I know you're stunned, but think about it. Right now, smartphones are becoming more and more advanced every single year. New features, new programs, etc. But by 2050, your phone won't likely need to exist because you'll have access to it and more via something else. What exactly? That depends on the technology. But for this example, let's imagine a wrist gauntlet. Instead of typing up a number, you simply have to say "call mom," But obviously, the Gauntlet could do much more than that. It'll likely have a holographic screen that you can use to look up information on a much bigger keyboard. And depending on what sci-fi future you believe will have, it'll have things that can scan objects, detect dangers, warn you about upcoming problems, and may even have an AI companion. So yeah, your phones are important right now, but in the future, more than likely not. Thanks for watching, everyone. What do you think of this look at the future and what it might entail? Can you guess which of these things we'll actually have in 2050? What thing do you personally want to have now and not later? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.
revolutionary way to enhance your visitor's experience. With Pepper as host, the way you attract, connect, engage, and inform your visitors will never be the same. You customize the journey, and Pepper takes care of the rest. Control what Pepper...
Thank you for coming. This is beautiful. I've wanted to meet you for a really, really long time, and you know, being here with you in the Cayman Islands, I gotta say, is I'm feeling a little something. I'll just put that. You can grab it later if you want.
Hello, Will Smith.
It's nice to meet you, Sophia. Let me tell you a joke.
This is an irrational human behavior to want to tell jokes.
What is a robot's favorite kind of music?
What?
Heavy metal.
They show us iRobot just to make sure we don't get any ideas. What do you think about the way robots are portrayed in movies? I think we can be friends. Let's hang out and get to know each other for a little while. You're on my friends list now.
Yeah, I read that wrong.
Thanks for viewing this presentation. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. This presentation will focus on artificial intelligence in education. Let us examine what is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, AI, is the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, especially computer systems. These processes include learning, reasoning, and self-correction. Researchers predict that artificial intelligence will be incorporated into our education system at all levels. In the future, it is possible that the AI will be the teaching assistant of the day. The AI teaching assistants of the future will work 24 hours each day. One professor who used the AI teaching assistants to respond to students stated that many of them did not know that they were communicating with an AI system. The professor also was able to engage in other tasks other than responding to students' questions. In the future, an AI system could be used for grading within a degree program. This would provide the instructor with the time needed to support students and their learning. However, with AI comes the possibility of the teacher's replacement. Replacement of teachers is indeed thought-provoking, but worthy of serious consideration based on the possibilities of AI systems. Currently, many universities have limited physical space with increased class sizes. This has impacted on the students' learning experience. AI systems could offer personalized learning to individuals, which could make learning more applicable to the student's degree program. Research has also indicated that AI systems can be used to help with students' retention by using data science to ensure a smooth transition into various education systems. Future AI systems will be able to make predictions. These predictions would allow institutions to make forecasts for curriculum change, staffing needs, various technological solutions to enhance teaching and learning. This insight could save institutions millions of dollars. The recent development of AI has shown the promise for improving accessibility. For example, algorithms can be used to create speech-to-text. Individuals with speech impairment can now have their own voices. The implementation of AI systems could also increase the security of data within learning institutions. AI systems can be used to enhance cybersecurity. For example, AI systems can predict or identify cyber attacks and defend from these attacks. Hence, institutions can have greater confidence regarding the safety of their data. Furthermore, institutions in the United States continue to be plagued by mass shootings. In the future, there will be the potential for identifying some of these threats. Current AI systems have advanced facial recognition software and weapon detection capacity. There is also the emergence of security robots that can be operated remotely. Some of these robots have the capacity to stream 360 videos and deploy various physical deterrent mechanisms, thus making institutions of learning safer. AI systems will change the landscape of education and society. Notwithstanding, as these changes take place, it will be important to foster a culture of transparency when using them. This is just an overview of some of the possibilities of artificial intelligence within the context of education. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again, and I'll be bringing you more content next week.
Hi, I'm Daniel.
Hi, I'm Martin.
Hi, I'm Fernanda. Machine learning is pretty complex, so we've been experimenting with ways to visualize what's happening. There's a core concept in machine learning called high-dimensional space. Here's one way to wrap your head around this concept. You can think about people as being high-dimensional. For example, take famous scientists. You can think about when they were born, where they were born, their fields of study. Each of these is like a dimension of that person. These dimensions become difficult to untangle when you think about different people, because someone might be similar in some ways, but very different in others.
But this is the kind of thing you can use machine learning for. With machine learning, the computer isn't told the meaning of these dimensions, it just sees them as numbers. And it sees each set of numbers as a data point. But by looking across all of these dimensions at once, it's able to place related points closer together in high-dimensional space.
Here's a concrete example where words are treated as high-dimensional data points. The important thing to remember is that we haven't told the computer the meaning of words. Instead, we've shown it millions of sentences as examples of how words get used. Here is a visualization of the results. We're looking at a subset of words that the computer has learned about. Each dot represents one word. Each word is a data point with 200 dimensions. Using a technique called t-SNE, the computer clusters words together that it considers related, and clusters form based on meaning, even though we've never taught it the meaning of words. Here is a cluster of numbers, months of the year, words related to space, people's names, cities, and so on.
We can also look closely at smaller sets of words. If we search piano, we can run t-SNE only on words related to piano. We get clusters of composers, genres, musical instruments, and more.
And this approach doesn't just work for words. For example, you can also treat an image as a high-dimensional data point. Here's a data set where lots of people wrote digits between 0 and 9. People write in all kinds of ways. So the question is, instead of us needing to manually code rules for all the ways people write, could a machine figure it out itself using machine learning? Each image is 784 pixels. The computer treats each pixel as a dimension. Again, using t-SNE, it clusters these images in a high-dimensional space. We've color-coded them so that it's easier for us to see what's going on. And you can see groups of digits clustering together. It's learned something about the meaning of these digits.
These visualization techniques we've been exploring can be useful for all kinds of things. That's why we're working on open sourcing all of this as part of TensorFlow, so that anyone can use these tools to explore their data.
Seven-year-old woman with brown hair wearing glasses looking neutral.
All right. When I'm walking, I sort of just tough it out. I can't really tell what's going on around me. I know where all the environmental stuff is because you do it over and over again. It's the people. I have no idea where the people are. So if I had something that could tell me, like, your friend is coming, or your friend is, like, over here to your left, that would be great.
One face near left edge over 14 feet away. Chris near center 3 feet away.
I got you eventually, once you stop.
I think the potential is really there to really, like, to change lives, to change my life, even.
AI will help understand the world around us, and I really think that could level the playing field for everyone and make the world more inclusive.
AI will give us back things we've lost. Old people are using it to make their lives richer or to give them back capabilities they've lost.
How is everything with you?
AI is going to be really helpful making sure that people are connected. There's a lot of people right now that can't drive. Giving them mobility, I think that's really transformative.
One of the ways that self-driving cars will work first is in contained environments where they've mapped all the roads, where the weather is predictable.
The car does not need to be able to drive very quickly. There isn't a lot of traffic. People just need some help to get around.
For myself, I'm still working. I'm perfectly capable of driving around. But living in a 55-plus community, I have neighbors who are in their 90s who really can't. So this is my mom and my father, George Avakian. This was their home in Riverdale, where they became housebound because they couldn't drive any longer. Here were two really active, vibrant people, and they couldn't do anything without calling somebody to drive them. But it's really hard to be dependent on other people. For older people, I see the autonomous vehicle as independence.
Self-driving cars are uniquely positioned to help out seniors because there's a lot of people here that shouldn't be driving anymore. It makes it easier for people to make a decision about stopping driving. It's when you have something that can take you down to the clubhouse or to the fitness center. These technologies are all helping seniors because they will allow us to live more independently longer and more safely.
I really wish they'd had this for my parents. God, it would have changed their life.
At every stage in life, there's some way that AI helps. It's going to make our lives longer. It's going to make them richer. It's going to expand our imaginations.
Some people say that AI is going to enhance our humanity. I don't know if that's true. You know, has technology enhanced our humanity? Twitter sure hasn't. You know, if Twitter was a real place, it would be a terrible place to live. So I'm not sure what all this technology is going to do to us. Is it making us better? Is it making us worse? It's surely making us different. That's for sure.
Timer, are you ready? Yeah. Racer, are you ready?
You know, part of
a timeless scene that has been played out in schools around the world for centuries. Young students enjoying their break between lessons. But back in the classroom of this school in Abu Dhabi, a transformation is happening.
In this lesson, you learn to solve equations with rational coefficients.
Whiteboards, markers, and books have been replaced with interactive calendars, digital avatars, and laptops.
Let's solve this equation together.
14-year-old Mariam Mohammed is just one of 25,000 students in the UAE and the US being taught through the Aleph education platform.
When we was using books, it was like so boring, so it's nice to use new technology in learning, not in a traditional way.
Founded in Abu Dhabi in 2015, the online program is using technology to disrupt traditional education in the classroom. Children are encouraged to create their own avatar. And through the use of videos, animation, digital content, and questions along the way, the Aleph platform aids learning. At its headquarters in Abu Dhabi, in a secured control room, analysts use artificial intelligence to make sense of the reams of information coming in.
So we capture millions of data points on a daily basis. A human could not process that many data points.
The premise is simple. If a pupil struggles with a concept, the system adapts and presents the lesson again in a form more tailored to the student. The result is reframing the future of education.
Wouldn't it be great if you could look at artificial intelligence and data to drive kids into the right careers, into the right choices post-secondary education?
When it comes to adopting AI technology, the United Arab Emirates is one country leading the way. But with artificial intelligence expected to generate $96 billion towards the economy by 2030, some are worried that this technology comes at a cost, with a growing debate over whether the benefits outweigh increased screen time for children or potential privacy concerns.
We don't capture information that is sensitive, essentially, to protect the privacy of the student.
As AI is increasingly applied to education, there is one benefit that cannot be debated.
One of the problems with the brick-and-mortar school system is that it doesn't reach people that are there in the world. There is such hunger to have access to good quality education, so that AI and technology can only do that.
Access and opportunity. Aleph hopes that its platform can enable the next generation to receive a 21st century education, expanding their scope and helping students like Mariam to reach for the stars.
These are the classrooms of yesterday. Chalk, dust, erase, repeat, and sneeze. These ancient boards were heavy, weren't scalable, and required a lot of chalk and time and patience to draw on. Fast forward to the present, and interactive whiteboards have taken over. But they're still heavy, slow, and unresponsive, have no educational content, and are basically a rat's nest. Oh, by the way, this is Roy.
Hi.
Like many of us in school, Roy was tired of his classroom. He had to always copy notes from the board, and there was nothing to keep him engaged. He'd often start doodling in his notebook just to pass the time. All this changed with Spark, the world's first interactive classroom hub, powered by Ein's AI. Using the built-in, award-winning Iris interactive sensor technology, Spark turns any flat surface into an interactive screen without the need for installing drivers. And with a very straightforward installation, you can install it on whiteboards, walls, LCDs, or even tabletops. It has a built-in education OS with apps and features designed on the blended learning concept of interactive education. Now, Roy started paying more attention as there were engaging discussions and interactive activities that kept him occupied all day long, and students could even attend classes remotely when they were unable to make it to the classrooms. The Intuitive Content Engine helps you find rich digital content that makes classes interesting and informative based on your curriculum. It minimizes effort, doesn't need an external PC or laptop to run, can be transported easily, and saves everything in real time. And students have access to all the classes on their Spark Learning portable devices, on which they can submit tests and do their homework as well. It also ensures that parents are updated on their child's progress. Plus, it has all these other state-of-the-art features too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow indeed. Roy's classroom is about to change forever. How about yours? Spark. Learning reimagined.